Hello and good evening. You are watching NEWSPLUS right here on ZTN Prime. Thank you so much for joining us. It is a Tuesday, the 1st of July 2025. Hopefully you do start your month on a good note. Here's a quick look at stories making the headlines tonight. President Mnangagwa today remembered former Vice President Joshua Nkomo, saying the nation derives inspiration from him and those of his generation. Stay tuned to NEWSPLUS as we reflect on the life and legacy of the late Father Zimbabwe, who passed away on the 1st of July 1999. Zimbabwe is expected to receive cancer treatment machines for all the country's major hospitals. The machines, which were procured from money raised through the sugar tax, are expected to arrive in the country in the next 36 months. We spoke to Health Minister Dr. Douglas Mumeshora on the subject. We shall also look at the latest efforts by authorities to bridge the country's energy deficit through the Zimbabwe Renewable Energy Fund. Finance Minister Professor Mthuli Ncube is in Spain, where he outlined how the fund aims to mobilize over $100 million to unlock inclusive, gender-responsive renewable energy projects across the country. A stubborn seventh-wicket stand between Irvine and Masakadza only delayed the inevitable as Zimbabwe fell to South Africa in a test match played at Queen's Sports Club in Blayo. My name is Faith Nyaude. Now we give you the stories in detail. President Mnangagwa today remembered former Vice President Joshua Nkomo, saying as the nation derives inspiration from him and those of his generation, it continues to scale to new heights in the upliftment of ordinary Zimbabweans. The late nationalist died on the 1st of July 1999, making this year's commemoration the 26th anniversary of his passing. In a statement, President Mnangagwa said, and I quote, "Today, the 1st of July, the nation of Zimbabwe joins the Nkomo family in remembering our liberation luminary and national hero, former Vice President, Father Zimbabwe, Dr. Joshua Nkomo, on the 26th anniversary of his demise. From humble origins under successive colonial governments, Dr. Joshua Nkomo devoted an entire life to raising national consciousness among his oppressed countrymen and women, whom he, together with other revolutionaries, subsequently led during the protracted nationalist armed struggle." Close quote. Now, as Zimbabwe honors the enduring legacy of the late Vice President Dr. Joshua Nkomo, Father Zimbabwe, the late nationalist family remembers a hard worker who raised a family and a nation. Breathing his last at 82 on the 1st of July 1999, his was a long and colorful experience. More on Father Zimbabwe from Andile Chuma.
At the Joshua Nkomo Museum in Majamhlope, school children from across Bulawayo explored the exhibitions detailing his personal and political journey. His bullet-scarred Mercedes-Benz, love letters, rifles and family memorabilia, all preserved to inspire future generations. Here, amidst artifacts steeped in Zimbabwe's liberation history, museum guides emphasized the resilience and moral conviction behind Nkomo's struggle. The morning's narrative deepened with a public lecture by Wanele Hlabangan, who spoke of Nkomo's unwavering rejection of tribalism and his belief in early education as the key to a united nation.
June 17, 1917, a small boy named Joshua Nkomo was born and grows up chasing goats and sheep across the red earth. His father, Thomas Nyongolo, saw beyond those rolling hills. He told young Joshua that a life bound to Celtic could be widened by letters and numbers, and by hands that know how to craft wood into more than just tool hangers.
Dr. Nkomo's daughter, Thandi Nkomo Ibrahim, reflected on her father's devotion to family and nation, stressing how essential land and unity were to his lifelong mission. She said they were taught that their strength lies in unity and connection to the land.
Wayele determination, wayele humility enje lingakhangela isikhathi esiningi lapho wayekhona wayengamuntu ongesabekiwe lapha hamba khona abantu babembuthanela wonke umuntu afuna ukuthi alubuye amthinta ama bodyguard bathi hayi akuyekelana abantu especially abantwana so basondele tuzana babuza abakufunayo so humility wayelayo.
She said her father's dying wish on his deathbed was for their mother, the late Joanna Mafuyane, to carry on the baton and push for a united Zimbabwe, which the family feels she did to the best of her ability.
But imessage ayilahlekanga i-unity embhedeni wakhe ilanga lakhe ezaphuma umoya kuye wabamba isandla sikamama wathi so Mafuyana ubone ukuthi i-unity nxa kusenziwa imisebenzi likhuluma labantu ubambana kwabantu kakulakhiwa kulamuntu omnyama kulashona kulandela kulakhala kulani singabantu banye iZimbabwe inye ukubambana asibambane nina.
Researcher and library information science academic Ernest Makina spoke about the need to preserve history and legacy through documenting the lives of icons such as Dr. Nkomo.
And that no child should be left behind because of where they were born or what language they speak. This, we believe, is the living legacy of Dr. Nkomo. To build a Zimbabwe in which every child holds a book before they are handed a ballot, where peace is taught in the classroom and practiced on the streets.
Father Innocent Makaule Ndlovu, the Catholic priest at St. Joseph's Mission in Mapisa, Nkomo's rural home, reminisced on Father Zimbabwe's message of peace and reconciliation, reminding us that spiritual and communal solidarity were central to his vision.
As a church, the Catholic Church supported very much the liberation struggle, particularly St. Joseph when Nkomo comes. Even one of our priests, Father Albert Stachingwenya, he did the call of Joshua Nkomo. He went to Zambia, he flew to Angola for training. From Angola, he went to Russia to train. A priest, he abandoned the Bible, not really abandoned, but his assignment there.
As day turns to dusk, Joshua Nkomo's spirit remains vivid in the laughter of school children, the earnest words of educators, and the communal prayers echoing in missions. His call for unity, peace, land, and justice is more than just memory. It guides Zimbabwe's journey towards Vision 2030. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chum in Bulawayo.
Father Zimbabwe, as the former vice president was affectionately known, undoubtedly left a strong legacy. Now, to reflect on this legacy, we are joined live by Mkhululi Sibanda, the deputy editor of the Sunday News, to discuss the late former VP's impact from the lenses of the newsroom. Mkhululi, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, how can you describe Joshua Nkomo's legacy and its impact on current socio-political dynamics in the country?
It's very important to celebrate this day, the day of a colossal person like Father Zimbabwe, Joshua Nkomo, as he was affectionately known. Dr. Nkomo left a gift for Zimbabweans in the form of unity. He spoke very passionately about the country being united. And it was through the signing of the Unity Accord in 1987, December 1987, with the late former president, Robert Mugabe, that brought the people of Zimbabwe together, resulting in the United ZANU-PF, the ruling party that brought the independence to Zimbabwe through a protracted struggle. So, in unity, Dr. Nkomo, that was a very precious gift that Zimbabweans should keep and cherish. Dr. Nkomo also is known for encouraging youngsters not to shy away from the economic activities of the country. He encouraged the youngsters to get into businesses and entrepreneurship so that they own their economy. They fully participate in the economic activities of the country.
Now, clearly, how can Zimbabwe as a country safeguard Father Zimbabwe, Joshua Nkomo's legacy?
We should fulfill his wishes. Dr. Nkomo was very passionate about the land reform program. He asked the Zimbabweans, or he called on Zimbabweans to get back their land. saying the land was the reason why people took up arms against the colonial regime. So that exercise is very, very important. So for him and the other nationalists, to make them happy wherever they are, we should be very, very productive as blacks, as Zimbabweans. We should take that exercise very seriously. We work on our land and produce food for the country. We should also keep Zimbabweans united. We should not be divided as Zimbabweans. That's very, very important.
Mkhululi, thank you so much for your time and for joining us on News Plus this evening. That was Mkhululi Sibanda, just helping us discuss and talk about Father Zimbabwe's legacy as we remember him this 1st of July. Meanwhile, preparations for this year's Heroes and Defence Forces celebrations have begun, with compilation of an updated list of national heroes and heroines already underway. Heroes Day will be held on the 11th of August at the National Heroes Acre, with provincial commemorations being held concurrently across the country. While the Defence Forces Day celebrations will be held at Rufaro Stadium on the 12th of August under the theme, guaranteeing a conducive environment for the attainment of Vision 2030. Speaking during the post-cabinet briefing, Information Minister Dr. Jinfan Muswere said the government has also shortlisted 3 exceptional individuals for conferment with honours and awards at this year's ceremony.
The Defence Forces Day celebrations will be held at Rufaro Stadium in Harare on the 12th of August 2025 under the theme Zimbabwe Defence Forces, guaranteeing a conducive environment for the attainment of Vision 2030. The day will feature a range of activities including community assistance week, a military parade, military displays and entertainment by selected groups. A soccer match between the Zimbabwe Defence Forces select team and the regional select team is also planned for the celebrations.
Still on the post-cabinet media briefing, Cabinet has approved the Biological and Toxin Weapons Crimes Bill, which, if passed into law, will ban the production, manufacture and exportation of biological agents and toxins. The bill will provide for the implementation of the United Nations Convention on the Prohibition of the Development, Production and Stockpiling of Bacteriological and Toxin Weapons.
The main objective of the bill is to prohibit the development, production, manufacture, possession, stockpiling, importation, exportation, transportation, transit, transshipment, transfer or use of certain biological agents and toxins and of biological weapons.
Now, Zimbabwe is looking for investors as they push for a $100 million renewable energy fund. We give you details when News Plus comes back.
The public is hereby notified that the advertisement published on 22 June 2025 in the Sunday Mail, titled Request for Expressions of Interest EOI POZ Type EPE 01 2025, Development of the Strategic Plan and Establishment of the Parliament Training Academy PTA of the Parliament of Zimbabwe, was published in error and is therefore hereby cancelled. We sincerely regret any inconvenience this may have caused to interested bidders and stakeholders. A revised tender advertisement will be issued in due course through the appropriate channels.
Win big in the EcoCash Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion with over 200,000 winners. Earn at least 20 points when you cash in, send money, buy airtime or data, make payments, receive money from the diaspora, or receive your salary via EcoCash. And you could be in the running to win an all-expenses-paid trip to watch an AFCON match in Morocco, a holiday for 2 in Dubai, solar kits, cows, fridges, gas stoves, motorbikes, cash, airtime, and so much more. It's simple. Simply transact, earn points, and win in the Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion. Dial *151# or use the EcoCash app now. EcoCash. Live life the EcoCash way.
asilwela ukunqoba kuphela kepha silwela ukwakha isizwe esinohlonze.
Sekunjalo.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Plus. Now, Zimbabwe has unveiled an ambitious push to bridge its energy deficit through the Zimbabwe Renewable Energy Fund, a landmark blended finance initiative launched in partnership with the United Nations Joint SDG Fund and Old Mutual Zimbabwe. Speaking at a UN high-level side event in Seville, Spain, Finance Minister Professor Mthuli outlined how ZimRef aims to mobilize over $100 million to unlock inclusive, gender-responsive renewable energy projects across the country, from solar parks and mini-grids to e-mobility and agricultural solutions. To date, the fund has begun deploying capital into projects like the Grove Solar Park and the Mater Dei Hospital Solar Initiative.
We are honored to gather in this historic city of Seville to collectively chart a course towards a more just and responsive global financial system, one that delivers for all. Your Excellencies, the time has come for honest reflection, given that the current global approach to development financing falls short, lacking both adequacy and even fairness. The SDGs face a financing gap of between $2.5 to $4 trillion annually, a figure that continues to grow. The official development assistance is in decline, and long-standing commitments by developed countries, including the pledge to allocate 0.7% of their gross national income, GNI, that remains largely unfulfilled. At the same time, developing countries, particularly in Africa, are burdened by mounting debts, the continued global tightening of monetary policy, illicit financial flows, unilateral coercive measures, UCMs, the adverse effects of climate change, and geopolitical divisions.
Turning to health matters now, Zimbabwe has raised enough resources from sin taxes to buy cancer treatment machines for the country's major public hospitals. Now, a sin tax is an excess tax specifically levied on goods deemed harmful to society and individuals. Health and Child Care Minister Dr. Douglas Mombeshora said the cancer machines will take a minimum of 36 months to be delivered.
Health and Childcare Minister Dr. Douglas Mombeshora revealed that a portion of these taxes will be safeguarded under a special act from Parliament, ensuring protection and support for communities.
To support the health sector, we still have a challenge that some of them are not ring-fenced. The one that is ring-fenced, which I can say it's helping us, it's National AIDS Trust Fund. That one, it's ring-fenced and it's supported by an act of Parliament. So what we have now advocated for is to get Parliament support to say, let's have all taxes that have been pronounced by the Minister of Finance to say that they are introducing these taxes to support health to be ring-fenced.
The present cancer treatment infrastructure has been under pressure for some time, dealing with outdated technology and frequent breakdowns that have caused delay in patient care. However, the minister says the new machines are on the way.
Although it doesn't have an act, but the minister told us that there was money now. We had to put pressure on him to tell us how much money is there, because these are very big machines which cost millions of dollars.
Minister Mombeshora says when the collection of sugar tax began in 2024, Treasury could not release the funds as they were too little. Minister Mombeshora says one cancer machine runs into millions of United States dollars.
2 linear accelerators, one for Harare and one for Bulawayo, which have been tendered for, they cost a total of about 18 point something million US dollars. So it's not like when the money started, At 1 month, maybe there's 1-2 million. You can't start buying at that stage.
But while funding is now secure, the machines are not expected anytime soon.
16 weeks for manufacturing the equipment. Then they were talking of 38 weeks for the equipment to come into Zimbabwe.
He explains procurement processes which also play a part in the delays.
It takes a long time, and the construction of the bunkers and everything. By the time the equipment arrives here, the place to put it must be ready. So that's the procedure for procurement of the equipment using sugar tax.
With the sugar tax now expected to play a key role in cancer care funding, the Health Ministry says it is focused on long-term solutions. For ZTN Prime, I am Talent Kore in Harare.
Now let's talk about some money matters. Data from the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe shows that the value of electronic transactions processed through the national payment systems dropped by 8.66% in the first quarter of 2025, falling to 532.61 billion ZEG from 583.14 billion ZEG recorded in the last quarter of 2024. Transaction volumes declined by 7.54% during the same period. Now, market watchers say the tide could turn in the second half of the year, buoyed by a strong agricultural earnings and improved liquidity in the economy. Our correspondent, Melissa Chatkobo, looks into the matter in detail.
In the streets, cash is king. Although monetary authorities have put in measures to increase digital transactions, people find themselves preferring to use cash to avoid the extra charges that comes when doing electronic payments. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe scraped off charges on transactions below $5. This was one of the steps taken to boost the use of electronic payments. Takawira, a trader, acknowledges the use of digital payments, but unfortunately in his line of work, business is not convenient as his suppliers demand cash.
Into prefer cash. Chinetika pa cash ka. Lese kana zvangu zvakasika kupera sezvizvi ndogona kumhanya chinono orders in time. Then pa zveiko cash kana zvetransfer zvinonetsera kuti time yanenge chida kuzoti nonomira pa queue pana agent kuti ndoite cash out zvinogona kunitorera nguva yakaita sei yakareba.
To accept digital payments, he has to put a markup of 3 cents on a 50 cents payment to cover the cost of his inconvenience. Similar to Brendan Simon, a taxi driver, his markup is 50 cents on a $5 transaction. The bigger the amount, the higher the premium.
Kana ine cash, tinongotora iri cash. Kana iri transaction, zvinoenda nokuti kuti usendewo mari. Kana iri 5, unoisa iri 550. Then kana ichido ichikwirawo pa amount apa. Then unongochengeta sei? Chingowedzerawo pa amount kuti wazoona chi pakutora mari chi inozotoreka.
A dip of 8.66% in value of transactions and 7.54% in volumes of e-transactions can be traced to a number of issues. During the first quarter of 2025, the value of transactions processed through the RTGS system decreased by 8.9%. The volume of transactions decreased by 8.64%.
Because of high transaction costs, mainly driven by IMTT and the charges related to just having an account, your monthly bank charges, querying your account balance or your bank statement. And then you have low confidence in the system.
However, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Monetary Policy Committee is confident of more transactions in the second half of the year. This is on the back of increased activity in the mining and agri sector, which are showing a rebound.
Economic activity, including even the circulation of electronic payments or payments in general, they started to peak in March going forward, reflecting the pickup in the gold subsector.
For now, consumers continue to weigh the cost of digital transactions against the convenience it offers. Authorities are pushing for a digital economy, but they might have a lot of work cut out for them. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Melissa Chatkobo in Harare.
From electronic transactions to electronic management of court cases, the Judicial Service Commission has implemented the integrated electronic case management systems in Magistrates Court. The rollout commenced with Mashonaland Central and Matabeleland North Province. Judicial Service Commission Secretary Justice Walter Chikwana visited Bindura Magistrate Court, where he told the media he was impressed with the progress of digital services in the country's courts.
The Integrated Electronic Case Management System is a web-based platform that digitizes the entire life cycle of a court case from filing to resolution, eliminating the need for physical documents. The system had already been successfully implemented across all superior courts in the country and is now being expanded to the lower courts, starting with the 2 provinces. Touring one of the magistrates' court in Bindura, Zimbabwe's Mashonaland Central Province, this Tuesday, Secretary in Judiciary Service Commission Walter Chikwana said he is happy with the progress.
I felt it is important for me to come on my own to check how we have started, but more fundamentally to interact especially with our magistrates and members of the public to find out whether they are having any difficulties in using the system to litigate in the courts. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm fairly satisfied.
The Judiciary Service Commission has established internet hubs within the court premises to promote use of digital platforms for e-filing.
Every court station, we have set up what we call an e-filing office. This is an office which is manned by a properly qualified person, IT person, who is required to assist every member of the public that comes in and who is having some problems in using the system.
Litigants who have started using the facilities have expressed interest in continued utilization of the new system.
Personally, ndazona ziri zvinhu zvinobatsira because ndine time ndichiuya pano pacourt sometimes taitoita kana 4 hours wakagara kunzoko usati wabatsirwa, but then wakwanisa kuita zvinhu zvako uri kumba uchitrace macases ako uri kumba kusvika pakutopera kwecase.
While this is favorable for Magi Manyanga, limited network access and lack of resources remains a challenge.
Dambudziko rinowanika kumamisha kwedu idambudziko kuti network inonetsa plus smartphone yacho tisina, asi zvakawanikwa tinokwanisa kuti zvitirerutsirawo mukufamba kana taisangana nenyaya dzinokwanisa kuenda kupolisi.
This significant transformation aims to improve reliability and efficiency, but most importantly, it will also provide litigants with better service delivery, which is going to be very swift and smooth. For ZTM Prime, I am Sitachisiwe Gwaza in Bindura.
Now to regional cooperation. A delegation from Namibia has expressed gratitude to the government of Zimbabwe for allowing them to strengthen their technical and vocational education and training programs in the country. This comes after the signing of a 5-year memorandum of understanding between the 2 countries that aims to further strengthen ties with the SADC countries. Francisca Msheche gives us more.
As the world rapidly adapts to the digital landscape, the education sector must keep pace to ensure efficiency. In Zimbabwe, technical and vocational education and training, TVET, has become a vital route to equip students with the skills needed for the modern job market. The initiatives have attracted countries in the region, with a Namibian delegation currently in the country to learn from Zimbabwe's experience with TVET programs. Dr. Monica Pendukeni, a member of the Namibian delegation, emphasized the significance of this partnership.
That we know that a lot of skills are here in Zimbabwe, and we would like to piggyback on that one, to get assistance, to get more skills in Namibia as well, and to strengthen our TVET programs.
This partnership reflects a commitment to regional collaboration in education and skills development, which is expected to benefit both nations. The focus on TVET is particularly crucial for Namibia, as it seeks to equip its youth with the skills necessary for a competitive job market.
At the moment, we have got the agriculture TVET programs, and we have got 3 programs that are already running at our school, so the School of Agriculture and Nature Conservation. But we are also going to introduce other courses as well, such as maybe welding, plumbing.
The Harare Institute of Public Health principal Amos Marume, in his remarks, highlighted the vital role of TVET in fostering economic development.
If we are to build our economies, we need more skills. So that's why TVET is the way to go. Any economy, is it German economy, any economy that you talk of, which is strong and resilient, is built on technical skills. So TVET is the way to go. Of course, we need our universities, but TVET is even more important, given the stage at which we are in the SADC regions as well.
As both countries move forward with this initiative, the emphasis remains on building a skilled workforce that can meet the demand of the evolving job market. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Francisca Msheche in Harare.
On NEWSPLUS, we'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
The government of the Republic of Zimbabwe has received financing from the African Development Fund, ADF, toward the cost of the Tax and Accountability Enhancement Project, TIAP, and intends to apply part of the agreed amount for this grant to payments under the contract for below consultancy. EOI POZ TIAP EPE 01 2025. Individual consultancy services for the end of project evaluation of the Tax Accountability Enhancement Project, TIAP. The Parliament of Zimbabwe now invites eligible individual consultants to indicate their interest in providing these services, whose full details are obtainable on the Parliament website, www.palzim.gov.zw. Parliament of Zimbabwe, making our parliamentary democracy work. A SARS ISO 9001 2015 certified organization.
Crowd goes absolutely emphatic. He has done it.
Get ready for more on SuperSport, the only place to watch all the FIFA Club World Cup.
Welcome back. You are still watching NEWSPLUS. Now we take a look at news from around the world, where the Japanese automaker Nissan's factory in South Africa now facing an uncertain future as the automaker grapples with financial strain, potential plant closures, and fierce competition in the accelerating green energy race. The automotive giant announced plans last month to shut down 7 plants and shed 20,000 jobs in its global workforce as it suffers a financial crunch. Nissan South Africa has remained tight-lipped on how this plan will affect its operations.
Operations at Nissan's Roslyn plant continue as normal as it waits for word on its future. The site could be one of 7 facing the chop as the Japanese automaker faces a financial crunch.
They are still obviously waiting for confirmation from their global principals, and they will obviously inform us once they are ready to be able to tell us what's happening. But obviously I think it is absolutely clear that Nissan globally will be rationalizing its operations, and whether South Africa is going to be impacted directly or not, I think that jury is still out.
Nissan has been part of South Africa's automotive landscape for over 60 years. First as an assembly plant in 1963, then going into full-scale production in 1973.
Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC President Felix Tshisekedi praised the Trump administration over the U.S. brokered peace deal with Rwanda during an address in Kinshasa on Monday. Tshisekedi also expressed gratitude to the Qatar government for their effective mediation in providing dialogue between the DRC and the Rwanda, and the Congolese leader also stressed that the authority of the state would be re-established throughout the country, including the North and South Kivu provinces. Now, the DRC and Rwanda signed a landmark U.S. broker deal agreement in Washington, D.C. on the 27th of June, putting an end to years of conflicts between the two neighboring countries.
Il y a quelques jours, à Washington, sous l'égide des États-Unis d'Amérique, la République démocratique du Congo et le Rwanda ont signé un accord de paix historique, un tournant décisif pour mettre fin à un conflit qui, depuis près de 3 décennies, a semé la désolation dans l'est de notre pays, causant des millions de morts et de déplacés, en particulier dans l'est de notre territoire. Cet accord, signé par les ministres des Affaires étrangères de nos deux pays lors d'une cérémonie solennelle présidée par le secrétaire d'État américain, M. Marco Rubio, reprend les acquis de la résolution 2773 du Conseil de sécurité des Nations Unies et ouvre la voie à une nouvelle ère de stabilité, de coopération et de prospérité pour notre nation.
In Cameroon, residents in the border town of Amchide expressed frustration of the usage of the Nigerian naira in daily transactions, calling for the return of the CFA franc amid fears of rising instability. Amchide, a trade hub linking Cameroon and Nigeria, has witnessed an economic collapse in recent years, with Boko Haram attacks adding to the issues. The CFA franc zone consists of 14 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, since June 2023, the naira has depreciated by over 71% against the US dollar, following the introduction of changes to foreign currency policies by Nigerian President Bola Tinubu.
Encore, j'ai fait un peu de billes. On vend ça en naira. Si tu veux quelque chose qui est un peu bien, on nous demande les CFA. Si tu trouves 10 000 francs, 10 000 naira, ça n'atteint même pas 5 000.
Now, an alleged Israeli strike caused widespread destruction at the Al-Bakr Cafe on Gaza's beachfront on Monday, resulting in numerous casualties and injuries among visitors, most of them civilians. At least 33 people were killed, including a journalist, and around 50 others were injured in the strike. Now, the Hamas-Israel war erupted after Hamas launched an unprecedented attack on southern Israel on the 7th of October, killing 1,139 people, mostly civilians, and kidnapping over 200, according to Israeli officials.
كنت قاعدة في الكفل حد كفل باقة ما لقيت إنه كل مكان انهال فوق روسنا ما عرفنا كيف وليش ما لقينا غير الأشلاء مقطعين وقاعد قدامنا بتناصروا قدام طلعنا برا نجلي لقينا
اللي صار إنه إحنا كنا قاعدين بكافيه يعني قاعدين بنشتغل على اللابتوبات لأنه في كهرباء فجأة ما لقينا إلا صاروخ نازل طبعا لقينا حالنا بس بنطير وكل اللي حوالينا مستشهدين كلهم شهداء وكانوا مقطعين فبعدناش إحنا مش عارفين إيش السبب يعني كانوا كل الموجودين.
And in Damascus, the international airport welcomed its first flight from Austria and Greece in several years on Monday, a significant step toward restoring civilian air links between Syria and Europe. The Air Mediterranean flight carried approximately 150 passengers. The flight departed from Vienna with a layover in Athens before landing in Damascus. Ala Salah, Director of Public Relations at the Syrian Civil Aviation Authority, did state that the authority is working to provide all facilities to airlines, confirming that all routes have been reactivated, whether to Europe, Asia or Arab countries. Now, this follows the arrival on the 15th of June of the first European airline flight in years, Dan Air, from Bucharest in Romania. Now, Zimbabwe has suspended duty on raw wine imports. We give you details when NEWSPLUS comes back.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news,
business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Captain Wally J's about to take you to boot camp.
It's the riveting science and tech show that keeps you up to date with the hottest gizmos on the block and revealing the illustrious and innovative visionaries in Zimbabwe. So much to see, you'll keep swiping.
This cherry red beauty is the Dairy Auto M7 mini electric car.
They've designed our brute force incubator board.
Look at what we've got here.
Solar powered scarecrow was part of the project that I was supposed to complete.
Catch Swipe every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294. Get the picture?
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Now we take a look at some business news right here on NEWSPLUS. Zimbabwe has suspended excise duty on raw wine imports for 2 years under Statutory Instrument 68 of 2025 in a move that is aimed at lowering production costs and strengthening local wineries. Approved wine manufacturers authorized by ZIMRA to import up to 100,000 litres annually must declare that the wine will be used solely for processing at approved facilities. The suspension may be denied if tax compliance standards under the Revenue Authority Act are not met. We are now joined by financial analyst Tapiwa Kusereka for Perspectives. Tapiwa, good evening and thank you so much for joining us on NEWSPLUS. Why is this development important?
Well, the introduction of ISO 68 of 2025 for the removal of excise duty on raw wine will bring a positivity in the wine market as the wine importers import their wine at cheaper price. And that factor will trigger a stiff competition between the local producers and the importers of wine. And that competition obviously will come out with a reduction in price of wine, and that reduction in price of wine will encourage local consumption of more wine, given that the price of wine will most probably going to drop, since the importers of wine will factor out in their cost, the cost of importation. So the removal of that import cost through the suspension of excise duty of raw wine will assist us to compete in terms of price.
Now, Tapiwa, just help us understand, how will this affect service delivery in the market?
There is going to be a price competition between the importers and the local producers, and it's good for the wine market, and the wine market, we are going to benefit as the consumers of wine, and an increase in volume of wine consumption most probably is going to trigger an increase in revenue of those who are trading wine, since they are going to leverage on increased demand for wine, both for local and for the imported products.
Well, Tapio, thank you so much for your time and for your contribution towards that conversation. That was Tapio as we're talking about the excess wine being put on the importation of wine, rather. I apologize for that. Now, still talking about what's happening in the Zimbabwean alcoholic beverages sector, the producer, African Distillers, AFDIS, is eyeing a major scale-up over the next 5 years. However, the company warns that limited access to affordable funding may dampen these prospects. The Ministry of Industry says it is working with financial authorities to address this cost of capital constraints. Our business reporter, Melissa Chatkobo, gives us the details.
Listed African Distillers Limited, AFDIS, has been under pressure, with grey market sales undercutting its revenue. But following a government clampdown on illicit alcohol and smuggling, the company reports a 10% boost in margin.
We have had a very positive impact from those initiatives and campaigns. I would say our volumes have increased by 10%, and we attribute most of that increase to the clampdown.
Now the listed entity is looking to increase its production volumes by over 60%, from 18 million litres to 30 million litres annually. But while the appetite to expand is clear, with a set target of 5 years, the ability to fund remains a challenge.
If we see how much we are borrowing at as an industry, it's very expensive and it does not enable business growth. So we would appreciate some initiatives that will bring down the cost of money to enhance investment.
But for the plant to move from the boardroom to bottling line, the financing bottleneck must be cleared first. The Ministry of Industry and Commerce acknowledges the concerns and is stepping in to address through a cocktail of measures.
That movement requires funding, and at the moment, because of other problems that we are facing, the company cannot access this concessionary funding. And this is what a government here would be looking at to see how best we can do that.
AFDIS is confident of a good production season in 2025, based on a good agriculture season and also supportive government policies. They say if this continues, industry is up for a rebound. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I'm Melissa Chatkobo in Harare.
Now, still in business, Fidelity Gold Refinery has launched an elite enforcement unit to crack down on illegal gold trading and smuggling. Known as the Gold Trade Enforcement Unit, or GTEU, the specialized team was established under new amendments to the Gold Trade Act and will work to protect Zimbabwe's gold economy and tighten oversight across the entire gold value chain. The unit will be made up of trained Fidelity staff and officers from the Zimbabwe Republic Police, appointed by the Police Commissioner General. Now, the officers, officially certified by the Minister of Finance, will be empowered to inspect mining sites, verify records, take samples, and access digital data to enforce compliance with gold trade regulations. JSE-listed poultry producer Astral Foods has been given official approval to begin vaccinating its broiler breeding stock against the HS5 strain of bird flu. The permit was issued by the Department of Agriculture's Director of Animal Health following an 18-month application process. The approval, granted under strict conditions outlined in the department's November 2023 guidelines, allows Astral to implement a vaccination program on one of its large breeding farms in Gauteng. The vaccine, supplied by an international manufacturer, is already in use in other countries that have adopted vaccination strategies against bird flu. Now, NEWSPLUS gives you some sporting action after this.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J.
Put your seatbelt on.
dental checkups, experiments, games.
The mixture is making bubbles and the bubbles have changed color. Our balloon has been fueled by carbon dioxide.
We have it all right here on Happy Sprouts. Catch us exclusively on Citizen Prime, DSTV channel 294.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Plus. Now we take a look at some sporting news, and we start off with some cricket. Zimbabwe suffered a heavy 328-run defeat to world champion South Africa, who would take a 1-0 lead in the 2-match test series. Chasing an unlikely target of 537 in the second innings, the Chevrons were bowled out for 228, with Wellington Masakadza top scoring with 57, his maiden test half-century. Corbin Bosch was the pick of the bowlers for the Proteas, picking up a maiden fiver to add to his unbeaten 100 as the world champions comfortably wrapped up the match. Now, debutant Lauren Dre Pretorius was named player of the match for his 157, which set the tone for the Proteas in the first innings. The Proteas led the 2-match test series 1-0, with second test starting on Sunday at Queen Sports Club. Now, still in our look at sport, Caps United winger Tendai Matindife has acknowledged his coaches in helping him work his way back into the game. The winger is seeing increased game time under Ian Bakala in a rebirth that has excited fans and brought back the love for the game in Matindife. We get more in this report.
Once written off after a string of poor performances and a few troubles last year, Tendai Matindife is now scripting a powerful comeback story at Caps United. The winger's arrival from Dynamos was met with cautious optimism, but his early days were marred by inconsistency on the pitch and controversy of it. Fast forward a few months and the narrative has changed. Driven by hunger, discipline and belief, he's beginning to justify his place in the squad as one of the key figures in the team resurgence.
Yeah, I said it before and I have to say it like now. My wife played a big role. I was down for real, but she stood by my side. Even the new coach, he gave me the confidence, said, yeah, guy, you're a good bowler, but don't have to listen to the audience or what. Just have to focus, then put your work, then the rest will come. I think it's high time I have to continue with my game, and I thank my coach for the performance that I've been giving weekly, week out. Of course, they will talk, but I just have to put my head on the block, then I will concentrate with my career. Maybe that one, yeah, it will be okay if I continue playing.
Matindife is delighted to be playing with confidence again, as it marks a great start in his journey for redemption.
Yeah, obviously I'm happy for myself. The confidence is up, but obviously I would want my team to win at the end of the day. Of course, yeah, I played well, but at the end of the day, we need 3 points. But I'm just happy with my performance. But we just have to manage from there to us going on forward.
The 24-year-old hopes to get back his scoring form, and he set his sights on helping his club win silverware and justify his coach's faith in him.
Maybe by the end of the season, we must win something. And obviously, for my performances to be seen that I'm playing well, we have to win something as a team, because it has been a while now. So I think I will get some by the end of the season. Yeah, of course. Obviously, I want to score. Obviously, there's more work. If I get a chance, I have to be there with the other guys who have come. But the team comes first, and by the end of the season, I think if you have something, then with my performance, I can be among the guys that can go and represent the team.
From doubt to determination, Matindife is proving that form is temporary, but characterize the lasting chapters. For ZTN Prime, I am Tawanda Muntali.
Still in football, as Yada continue their fight to escape the relegation zone, midfielder Francis Mustafa has emerged as a pivotal figure in the team's bid for survival following the departure of starman Kama Billiard. The Burundian international has embraced the responsibility and is now leading from the front. We get more in this report.
Yada ended a 2-game losing streak with a hard-fought 1-0 win over Manica Diamonds at the weekend, though they remain rooted in the relegation places. With changes made to the technical bench, the Miracle Boys are desperate to turn their fortunes around. In the midst of the struggle, Francis Mustafa has stepped up as a true inspiration. Having joined the club last season, the midfielder came off the bench to net the winner against Manica Diamonds, a goal that could spark their revival. With 6 goals to his name, Mustafa has now scored more than half of Yada's 10-goal tally this season. His coach, Maxwell Tagende Sajongwe, was quick to highlight his growing influence within the club.
He is a very important player. Even as we played him today, you could realize he was half fit, but that's how Mustafa is important to the team. He gives us that extra impetus.
Last season, Kama Billiat made history as the first Yada player to reach double digits in the league, finishing with 13 goals. Following Billiat's move to Scotland, Mustafa has shouldered the scoring burden and reflects fondly on his time playing alongside the star forward.
The experience is good because last season I was playing with one of the best in Zimbabwe, so I tried to learn more how he's scoring goals, but now this season it's now for me to apply it. No, the experience was good, it was high, so I enjoyed to play with him, and he's a good guy. He used to give us some knowledge, so it was good.
Despite Yada's current league position, Mustafa has flourished in a team setup that prioritizes togetherness and a collective spirit.
No, we train well, we train hard, and plus the coach gives us what we're supposed to do, so we have to extra do it to maintain, to fix in the first 11 for the other team. We are like family, so when your friend do a mistake, you have to go to him, tell him what he's supposed to do, and it's like that. That's why you see everyone, when we are scoring goals, we found everyone from the bench is coming to celebrate.
Now fully recovered from recent niggling injuries, Yada will be counting on their leading man to continue firing as they edge closer to match day 19.
We just thank God, as long as we finish the game, we didn't get any injury, so we have to learn another game which is coming. So my target is to reach many goals, but it's not easy as a midfielder, but I will try my best to push until I reach there.
This weekend, Yada travelled to Bulawayo for a date against Chicken Inn, with both sides tied on 17 points and desperately seeking a breakthrough to climb to safety.
Now, some Rugby Sables coach Pete Bernard has named a strong 31 squad for the 2025 Rugby Africa Cup, which starts in Uganda next week. Bernard has retained the core of the squad, which won the Africa Cup last year, with Matthew McNabb, Jason Fraser and Lenians Tabwera the notable additions. Scrum half Hilton Mudariki captains with Australia-based fly half Ian Pryor, the SA-based trio of Tapio Mafura, Tinotenda Mavesere and Edward Sigauke are among the big names.
Yeah, look, great to be back. Fresh off the plane, straight into it, day one today, so pretty excited. Nice memories driving around town, coming down from the airport, and really looking forward to the Africa Cup campaign this year. Yeah, really excited. Boys have been putting in a lot of work here at the camp, been working really hard, and there's a really good vibe around at the moment. So yeah, first game, there's always a lot of excitement, so looking forward to another good week of prep and then head on over and fix up for game one in Morocco. You know, you've got to take it game by game. You look too far ahead and you can lose the focus on the moment. So the big mindset is now we're the hunted, not the hunters. So we've got to make sure that we're aware of that and make sure we're ready for that. But then also taking a lot of confidence out of the work we've done in last year's campaign, our spring tour of the UAE and South Korea as well. And just keep building our performances game on game. That's the big goal.
The Sables are scheduled to leave for Uganda on Saturday and to play Morocco next Tuesday. The winner will qualify for the semi-final, which will be between the winner of the match between hosts Uganda and Kenya. The winner of the 2025 Rugby Africa Cup will qualify directly for the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia, while the runner-up will earn a spot in the final Global Repechage tournament. That's all we had for you on News Plus this Tuesday evening. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Faith Nyaude. We leave you with a weather forecast. Good evening and enjoy the rest of your viewing.